Hi, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, Gabby on Paper. In today's video, I am going to walk you through what I call my budget binder, which is really this Filofax planner and all the financial inserts that I have in there. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start, I thought I'd give you some details on the planner itself. It's from Filofax. The line's called The Original, and it's just a simple leather binder. It's pretty thin. It doesn't have a lot of pockets or anything, and that's why I liked it so much. I actually did just own this. I didn't buy it for this purpose, but I decided to pull it out after years of not using it, and use it for this. On the left side over here, it does have a pen loop, and the pen loop is pretty large, so I should fit just about any pen, and it stretches. And then it has another loop in which you could, I don't have anything in there, but you could definitely put some highlighters and it would work fine. In the pocket, I have some sticky notes that I use to make notes throughout the planner. Just 2 sets of those, some Post-it, like noted by Post-it brand icon dots, and then just a scratch piece of paper that I swatched out all of my my mild liners. So I keep all of that in the pocket. So just to get into the guts of the planner, I have these top tab dividers from Cloth and Paper in A5 size. They're just clear. They don't have any kind of words on them, any kind of labels, and you can label them yourself, but I chose to not, since, you know, I may decide to change things up in the future and I didn't want to commit to anything. My monthly dividers are also from Cloth and Paper, and these are labeled. They're like gold foiled. And I'll make sure to link this below. So the very first tab is just a random tab. I just have a bunch of inserts of things that I wanted to keep track of, and not necessarily well, they're definitely not financial type inserts at all. They're just things I wanted to write down. The first insert is books to read, and it's any possible books that I may want to consider reading. I won't necessarily get to all of them, but ones that looked interesting and for me to look further into when the time comes. If I've read them, I indicate it with a blue dot on the side. So I have a few pages of that. Then it goes into books I've read, and it's the book and author and the start and end date and a rating. I didn't keep track of my rating early on, like last year and then earlier this year, but then I did start keeping track of the ratings over here. And then I separate, like, those lines are the different months. So whatever books I did that month are, you know, it's separated. So this right here, this is May, and this is June down here. Then it goes into my step log, and it's just that. Every week or two, I go into my phone to the health app, or now I'm doing my Apple Watch, fitness app or whatever. And I write down the steps, and then I fill out the bar for the corresponding steps. So I'm fully up to date. Today is June 5th, and yeah. And this is just so I can see. Then it goes into my trip planner. I have started planning for my trip to Austin with my boyfriend to go visit his dad. That will be later in 2 weeks or so. So I started planning for that, but I don't have too much done. I'm gonna start researching that this week so I can be prepared. And this is what a blank copy looks like. I really love this trip planner. I've been using this for years. I use this to plan, a couple trips to Europe, and just like bigger trips, not just these weekend trips like the one I'm taking this month. So I have a few of those, and then I have my habit tracker, which I don't know what I did with last month's. I messed it up, so I'm like, I'll just start over in July. And basically you pick 8 habits to track in this circle form. So if you want to, work out 20 times, then you indicate in like that row, you indicate what day of the month you actually exercised. And so then you'll be able to see your progress throughout the month. Then down here you can set a goal, like I want to exercise 20 times, so your goal is 20, and then at the end of the month you count how many times you actually did it and write it down there to compare. And that's it for this section. The second tab goes into my pre-planning. Let's see. So this is May. This is where I plan everything out. My videos, where my bills go, events, things I want to do, things to consider doing at some point during the month. This is where it all goes before I move it into my golden coil planner, and that's more like for sure. So as things come up, this is June, as things come up, I'll just write them down. If they change or they get canceled or whatever, I just cross it out. It's no big deal. And yeah, that's why I like having some pre-planning to make sure that I make note of everything coming up, and that way I don't forget anything. It just helps me feel organized. But that's what this is for. This is just an undated monthly planner, so I have until like August right now. This is what a blank one looks like, and you just go in and write in the dates for each month, and yeah. So that's all I have in this section. The third section, this is where like the financial stuff starts. So first I have this yearly overview in which I write down events that will cost me money, any things that I may have coming up. For example, our trip to Austin is written down right here and highlighted because that's a trip. In November, Golden Coil typically does a Black Friday sale, so if I want to buy a planner for 2023, that's when I would do it. Just things to make note of. Then I have a to-buy list. These are things that we plan on buying that I may need to save up for, or just keep an eye out for a sale, things like that. Next is my wish list, and I haven't completely filled it out because I really need to cut back, but there's a few things on there that I want, not a priority at all. If anything, the things on the to-buy list are more of a priority. These are just wishful thinking items that if I come across the money, I might pull from this once it's filled out. And basically describe the item, what store you can purchase it at, the price, and then you rate your need. Do I need any of these? No, that's why they don't really have any kind of rating here, because these are just items I want for fun, not necessities. And then once you purchase them, you check it off. So I have one of those. Then it goes into my sinking funds. So this is an overview. So at the beginning of the month, you write down what you're starting with in your sinking fund. Then the next column is how much you add to it. Then it's if you take anything out, so if you spend any money from that sinking fund, and then what you end at. So it's just like an overview of the whole thing. It doesn't keep track of each expense, each deposit, or anything. That is actually done in the sinking fund tracker. So let me find one that's really here. So this is actually meant to be like one page for each goal. So we put the goal here, $150, and what I'm saving for annual. And then both of these trackers are for that one sinking fund. I decided that might be a little bit too much for me. So I just broke it down. I put what the goal was, like, or what it's for, and then the goal amount that I'm hoping to have in there. And I did each column, I guess, is for a different sinking fund instead of one entire page. And then you just keep track of the date, the amount that you put in, and what the balance is, or if you know, the date, the days, how much money you spent, and then what the balance is after that. So I have that. And then at the very end, I have a payment tracker for paying off debt. I have to get this filled out once I figure out my payment plan. And this is what I used to pay off debt back in 2019 and 2020. So I've had this insert for a very long time, but I didn't fill everything out. I don't like writing things like the account number, username, and password, but I just put like goal payoff date and like the company, what the starting balance was. And then, yeah, due date, minimum payment. I did fill that out, just not this like extra stuff up here. And then I would, you know, make a payment on June 5th, paid $100. My new balance is $2,000. And I would just do that, and this would be pretty much filled out. I would only track the payments once I started focusing on the cards. So if I was paying on my first card and making minimum payments on my other cards, I wouldn't track the minimum payments on the other cards, only once I started focusing on that card. And that's it for this portion. That then goes into the monthly section, which it's the same month after month. So I'll just go to, I guess, May, since it's completely filled out. This is upside down, but first I have my monthly bills and events calendar, in which I write down the bills that I have due, when they're due, my paydays, and any events that cost money. That's all written down here so that I can use this to plan out my budget. I then have the monthly budget planner, which is where I write down like how much I'm expecting, how much I expect to pay for my bills and my variable expenses and all that. And then at the end of the month, I go in and fill it out with how much I actually spent. The back page is just a monthly bill tracker in which I write down each bill individually. So if I go back here, you can see I put subscriptions and I put the total. Over here is just written out one by one. And this is to make sure that when I'm writing out my bills calendar and my budget, to make sure I have everything covered, so that I don't skip one of these bills. So I just check it off. Then I go into my weekly check-in, and it's just that. I take all the expenses from my expense tracker, add them all up, and then check in each week with how much I spent and how much I have left in my budget. In June, I'm actually going to be doing things a little bit different. Instead of doing a weekly check-in, I'm going to try and do just one mid-month check-in so things don't get super repetitive, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know how I feel about it, because I really did enjoy like every week taking a look and seeing, oh my gosh, I spent $100 almost of my $240 grocery budget, and it's only the very first week of May. I need to cut back, and then I did, if you look at the subsequent grocery outings. So I really do like the weekly check-in, but I'm gonna see if a mid-month check-in once a month works out. Maybe it will, and if it does, I would switch to that, but we'll see. So I pull the numbers from my weekly check-in from my expense tracker. This is where I write down every single expense, and then this line is what separates it like per week. Like this first week was 8 days, and that's because I had like May 1st was like on a separate calendar week, and I didn't want to do, like I didn't have enough to separate that one day, you know, on its own line. So I just put it all together, and then this line separates. So May 1st through the 8th is all in the first week. You know, these purchases are in the second week, and then I color code them. So everything like all the groceries are highlighted purple, and then it's highlighted purple here, and then over here. So it's all color coded. At the very end, I tally up my expenses just so I know how much to include in my budget planner. And then I think this is the final one. Oh no, I have this wrong. Let me switch it. So after the expense tracker should be my cash stuffing sheet. And this is how I prepare for my cash stuffings. I write down the categories, how much will go into each category, and then the breakdown of the bill denominations. That way, when I go to the bank, I can tally up, like I need 10 ones, 4 5s, 7 10s, and so on. It just makes it easier. I don't give them the sheet, I just write it down on a piece of paper, but this is how I prepare. And then the final monthly calendar here is just my video planner, like YouTube and Instagram planner, and I write down. So in this monthly calendar, I kind of like sketch out my ideas. Let's go to June, like what I'm planning on posting and when. And then once I have something like a monthly view that I'm like happy with, I come here and I write it out all, much bigger. The blue is my YouTube, like my YouTube uploads. If I'm not sure if I'm gonna do this, I'll put it in a post-it if I'm still like thinking about it. I did end up doing that, but I don't want to have to rewrite it, so it's just staying there. And then this was to indicate what my first video next month would be. And then I also try to write down any Instagram posts with this little purple. And that's pretty much it. That repeats month after month. So this is June, the bills calendar, my monthly budget planner, the weekly check-in, which I haven't done because it's still the first week, expense tracker, the cash stuffing. This is the video that goes up on Tuesday, and then this video will go up on Friday. And then again, the YouTube and Instagram calendar, just so I have an idea of what I need to be filming and when. And yeah, it just repeats month after month. The very back, I have the fourth top tab, and I really just use that as a page lifter so the back pages don't get messed up back here. And then back here, gosh, I don't know how long that's been there. Back here is just this little notepad that came with the planner for like scratch paper. I haven't used it in another pocket. And yeah, that is my budget binder. I am gonna go through and find the links for everything I can, all the Etsy shops that I purchased from for this exact binder, the tab dividers and everything. Oh, and something I kind of forgot to mention, let's get back into it. So I print on, these are all printables. Everything you see in here, I've printed myself. I just went on Etsy, looked for, like a month on 2-page printable, and did it myself. I decided instead of punching it and cutting it with my paper cutter, I decided to buy pre-cut paper. Again, just A5 paper that is pre-cut and pre-punched. So I didn't have to worry about doing any of that because, I mean, I can cut fine, but the punching for whatever reason always comes out wonky for me. It does make printing your own printables so much easier if you don't have to take those extra steps. I literally just load this paper into my printer and it's done. Nothing else needed. As I was saying, yeah, I'm going to go through and link everything that I can find down below in the description box. I'm gonna link, if I can't find the specific insert, I'll try to link the Etsy shop. But yeah, Anyways, thanks so much for watching today's video. I know it's a little different, but I have gotten a lot of questions on the inserts I use and everything, so I thought a walkthrough would be helpful to those with questions. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. Bye.